This is course OV289, Crew Module Access, and it's designed to familiarize you with INGRESS, EGRESS, safety procedures, and work habits in the crew module. Let's start with the Operations Control Center. There's one at the OPF, VAB, and at Launch Complex 39. Before entering the crew module, you must gain clearance from the operations engineer. His job is to coordinate all work in and around the orbiter. So for your safety and the safety of others, you must not enter the crew module without that clearance. Safety comes first, so read all area warning and instruction signs, such as this one, which instructs you to tape or tether all jewelry, hand tools, eyeglasses, and all items must be removed from upper pockets before entering any work platform around the orbiter. Or this could happen to you. Our next step before entering the crew module is to sign in on the proper access log. When taking items such as test equipment on board, they must be signed in on the INGRESS EGRESS sheet equipment log. All chemicals must be signed in on the hazardous chemicals control log. Chemical quantities are limited, so refer to the pre-flight operations procedure located at the Operations Control Center. When personnel only are entering the orbiter and are not taking chemicals or test equipment on board, the personnel INGRESS EGRESS sheet must be signed. Remember, the orbiter is also an aircraft. Weight and balance are important, so a shuttle weight log will be maintained to record the hardware and materials removed, installed, or relocated. Now that we've been cleared by the access control monitor, care must be taken not to carry dust or dirt into the crew module. So let's start with our shoes and our clothing. When the shuttle is on orbit, there isn't any gravity to hold things down, and that includes dust, dirt, and if you're losing your hair like I am, well, what can I say? Remember, not only do we need to keep the astronauts' breathing air clean, but damage could occur to delicate instruments and equipment. So a clean garment, that we call a bunny suit, must be worn inside the crew module. And non-skid booties must be worn. As we crawl through the crew module hatch, we find ourselves on the middeck. Stop and look around. Most of the time you'll see test equipment and monitoring devices in use. This pressure gauge is one example. Today we find the avionics equipment bay opened. Remember, if it doesn't pertain to your task, leave it alone. And keep this in mind. It's not as roomy as a cow pasture in the crew module, but you still have to watch your step. This is the crew module airlock, where the astronauts prepare for their spacewalks. Their lives can be dependent on the equipment you see here. Use caution if you have to enter this area. Now let's look at some devices that your life could be dependent on if an emergency should arise. If the breathing air in the crew module becomes oxygen deficient, an oxygen monitor like this one will sound off. Immediately exit the crew module to the outside of the orbiter and notify the access control monitor. Emergency lighting has been installed in case of a power failure. And on the right is an evacuation alarm that sounds like this. That's your cue to evacuate the crew module and again notify the access control monitor. Now let's climb up to the flight deck. Notice the handholds that are provided. Use them. Also use the handholds provided for climbing in the seat. And while we're on that subject, let's take a short trip to Launch Complex 39. Here we are on the 195-foot level. As we walk across the orbiter access arm, look out for equipment along the way. Just beyond these doors, you'll find another white room, where an access monitor will clear you to enter. And the bunny suit is donned. Entering the orbiter in the vertical position is quite different. So let's see how it's done. Again, notice the handholds provided for climbing into the cockpit. It's difficult to demonstrate safety procedures in the vertical position, so let's go back to the orbiter processing facility. At the center of the flight deck console is the panel jettison T-handle, or sometimes called the blowout panel T-handle. Regardless of what we refer to it as, it is never to be tampered with. The panel jettison T-handle is used for astronaut rescue only, and when activated, the jettison or blowout panel, which is located overhead on the flight deck, is actually blown out, so you can imagine the hazards of tampering with this device. Again, the panel jettison T-handle is loaded with an ordnance device. It's used for astronaut rescue only, and never to be tampered with. So use caution when working around this device. Wherever you find electrical equipment, there's always a potential fire hazard. So rather than activating the master fire extinguishing system when only a single panel is on fire, we've installed a local fire extinguisher for just that purpose. Notice each electrical panel on the flight deck has an access port with a thin foil seal covering it. To extinguish a panel fire, remove the extinguisher from its holder. Pull the safety pin. punch through the seal with the nozzle of the extinguisher and squeeze the handle until the fire is extinguished. And of course, report the incident immediately. It's just that simple, but not to be taken lightly. Now let's review what we've learned. Remember, the first thing you must do before entering the crew module is to check in at the Operations Control Center. Then, make sure all hand tools are tethered, eyeglasses, and don't forget to remove all items from upper pockets when working around the orbiter. The access control monitor will give you final clearance to enter. Observe the standards of cleanliness. Be aware of test equipment or monitoring devices. The oxygen monitor. Remember its sound. And the evacuation alarm. Again, it's your cue to leave the crew module immediately. Utilize all devices placed there for your safety. At the center of the flight deck console is the panel jettison T-handle. Remember, it's loaded with an ordnance device. It's used for astronaut rescue only and never to be tampered with. So use caution when working around this device. There's a lot of things to remember when in the crew module. So maybe on your first visit there, you should have someone show you around and demonstrate putting out a panel fire, perhaps. And things are quite different inside the crew module when on the pad in the vertical position. Practice good work habits, not only for your safety, but the safety of others, and each shuttle mission.